What am I eating? Stinky, stretchy beans called natto, which is a Japanese fermented soybean. That is one of the most nutritious, healthiest foods on the planet because it's full of not only protein and fiber, but things like vitamin K and nattō-curious that does wonders on your cardiac health. Oh my God, this is so delicious. Scientists are just discovering the benefits of natto, and you should too. For me, it's a culinary delight. It's a favorite breakfast item. Kids love it. And you too, even if you're a little repulsed by it initially, can grow to love it. And once you get hooked, you will be hooked forever. So let me dig into my favorite breakfast, natto and rice. So good. All right, well, let's learn how to make it. All right, natto is a form of fermented soybeans that is grown with something called nattō-curious. It's a bacteria that's full of vitamin K and something they've discovered called nattō-curious, which is apparently really good for your cardiac health. It's got some deliverables that are one of the few things that can actually reverse heart disease, is what one paper that I read said. So it's apparently amazing. And there's little capsules of nattō-curious that you can buy today. Or you can just eat it yourself, just like the Japanese do. Everything has to be sterilized because it's fermented and you don't want anything funky growing in it. I've done it before where I didn't take precaution and I got sort of off-tasting natto. So I've got a pot of water here that I'm boiling. I'm just going to take out a little bit of water because I know it's sterilized. I'm going to let this cool off. Set it aside here. And then I've got all these containers, just like as if you're canning. It's just a good idea to sterilize all of your utensils that you're going to be using for making your natto. I'm going to boil all of these containers. They don't have to be in here very long. Just a minute or so should sterilize them. And then the trick, of course, is how you get them out without burning yourself. You don't want very deep. We're not going to fill these up, maybe only about halfway. These are the soybeans. I'm now going to drain them and I'm going to put them back in here so I can stir in the nattō-curious. You want to put your nattō-curious in here, the natto bacteria in here, while the beans are still warm. Where do you get nattō-curious? You can get it online. I've got a couple of different kinds right here that I bought. Or if it's hard to buy these, you can go to an Asian grocery store, or maybe sometimes a natural food store will have it. This is natto starter powder, natto starter spores. The other thing you can do is you can just get some store-bought natto. This is store-bought natto. This is what it looks like when it's finished. These beans are really, really dark for some reason. I'm not really sure why. And the more you stir it, the more you develop these little filaments, this thread. And a lot of people find it, if they're trying it for the first time, they don't love it. Kids love it. Oh my God, if you get a kid started on natto, they get hooked. You can either use a little bit of this. It's sort of like making yogurt from a commercial yogurt rather than buying a yogurt culture. Or you can use this. So I think what we're going to do is divide this up and do a little bit of each. So I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to put these in containers here. Don't fill it all the way up, maybe halfway or so. And I'm going to put a little bit of the commercial one in each of these. And give that a stir. And we'll see how this does tomorrow. Normally I use the starter spores. So I think I'm going to actually do the starter spores with that. But we're going to see how these do. Okay, now, remember I had that water, that sterilized water that I took from the pot and allowed to cool? I'm going to put a little bit of this natto starter in here. This one provides a little spoon. It's very, very, very tiny. And that is all you need. Just that little tiny amount. And you're going to stir it and then pour it in here. And you're just going to stir that very, very well. There's such a small amount of spores added to this. You want to make sure that you stir it really, really well so that's evenly distributed. And if you cooked your soybeans right, you should be able to mash them. I'm going to put this one back in here. I think I'm going to leave the rest in the Instant Pot and put that on a yogurt mode. So what's going to happen now is, and I need to keep the beans at about 100 degrees, or it can be above that, 110, 120, 130, not a big deal, for 18 to 24 hours. And then you're going to move it to the refrigerator where you need to leave it for another day, and then your natto is ready. So I'm going to put this back in the Instant Pot. Normally I just parse it out into containers ahead of time. I don't have enough containers, so I'm going to try it this way. I think it'll work. Okay, 18 hours is max. I'm going to leave it right there. And then these I want to cover with a little bit of sterilized cheesecloth or parchment. I typically use parchment. Now the directions say cover them with cheesecloth and then tightly cover with a lid. I found that it works better with a little bit of air circulation. So I just sort of put the lid on without really clamping it down too tightly. So originally, natto was made by wrapping it in a type of straw, which had a natural bacteria, Bacillus subtilis. And that is actually what created natto. So I think like many other things in life, lots of accidents happen because you wrap it in something, or you, like, you know, the story of Gorgonzola, apparently, or Roquefort actually, was a shepherd left a piece of cheese behind a rock to go chase a damsel, apparently, and next thing you knew, it turned into blue cheese. So, because there was some mold. So that's typically how these things happen, and I think it was the same for natto. Okay, these are going to go in the oven at about 100 degrees for about 24 hours. It's been 18 hours. I had the timer set on the Instapot, and so let's take a look and see if it turned into natto. I also pulled these out of the oven, and as you can see, there's a little bit of white growth on the exterior of the beans, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So let's see if we have the same situation in this pot. Okay. Here's the grand reveal. Oh my God, my beans have formed natto. Look at that. Oh my God, you see the little filaments, the stretchy stuff? Now, it's not done yet. What I have to do now is put this in the refrigerator for 24 hours, which will allow this to grow even more and get stretchier before we eat it. After I do that, you can freeze these for as long as you like. I usually can't, you don't want to keep it refrigerated. I mean, obviously I made 1 kilogram of beans. That's a lot to eat, you know, just for me. And so I'm going to freeze most of it, and then I can pull it out the night before I want to eat it. So these will all be going in the freezer. But first, I have to put this in the refrigerator overnight. Now, one more thing I want to tell you is that we did an experiment. We put the natto culture in, the starter spores in some of these, in most of them, and then I just took some commercial natto that I had bought and I stirred it into the others, and guess what? No difference. They both worked. It's sort of like buying a commercial yogurt and then just using that as the starter culture. So if you don't want to buy the cultures online because they're a little hard to get, then just buy a packet of natto from an Asian grocery store or a natural food store, and just take a little bit of that and stir it into your batch of soybeans. Okay, I'm going to put these in the refrigerator, and then we'll be back to give it a try. Okay, now this has been in the refrigerator for a few hours. I prefer, and they suggest that you leave it in there for at least 24, but this looks pretty good. And as I stir it, you can see the little filaments. So the longer you store it for like 24 hours, you'll get a lot more. Now, typically in Japan, you add a little bit of soy sauce. This is some artisan soy sauce I got from a traditional soy sauce manufacturer in Ibaraki Prefecture, where they actually still make soy sauce in wooden vats. It was so exciting to see that and see the fermentation going on and learn how to make soy sauce. There's lots of ways to flavor natto, but you at least want to add soy sauce. And you can see the more I stir it, look at those strings forming. Now, I also like to add a little bit of sesame oil. Really brings it up a notch. Hot mustard, Asian hot mustard, is another common ingredient to add to this. But sometimes I go crazy and I add non-traditional things like gochujang sauce. So I might put a little bit of this in my natto for some more complex fermented flavor. Not traditional, but it's possible. So go crazy, add whatever you want. You can even add a little touch of sweetness. I've got some red pepper jelly here, so I could even add a little bit of that if I wanted to. So there's a lot of possibilities for flavoring natto the way you want. You can add chopped scallions. That's also very traditional. I just don't feel like chopping any right now, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. Oh my God, I've already added soy sauce, red pepper jelly, gochujang, and sesame oil to this. And now the more I stir it, as you can see, these stretchy filaments form. Oh my God, now I'm gonna pour it over my hot rice. And this is gonna be my breakfast. This is a typical breakfast in Japan, natto and rice, so healthy. You're getting your fiber, you're getting your protein, you're also getting all that vitamin K, the nattō-curious, all the things that are good for cardiac health. And you know, they say natto is an acquired taste because it's sort of like stinky Limburger cheese, but if you acquire it, you will become addicted. Now you can also cook with natto. I can make, for example, little fritters with a natto. It's also good in fried rice. Natto fried rice is also highly recommended. Okay, let me give this a try. But this is how I typically eat it. So good. This is my ideal breakfast. Oh my God, it's so good. I grew up on natto. I'll die eating natto. So, thanks for joining us again at The Vegan Good Life with Miyoko. I just love this, so good. Oh, my granddaughters love it too. They love natto. I can't get enough.